Welcome to the Next Level Podcast with Brian Daniels. Ooh, boom shakalaka.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to another brand new episode of the Next Level, episode 111. And I'm your host, Brian Daniels. And joining me on this episode, I got my amazing wife, Raven.
Hello.
And my podcast tag team partner. That's Josh Thundershaver. What's going on, Josh?
How's it going, Brian? How's it going, Raven?
It's going pretty good.
We're here.
It's going pretty good. We are back to doing regular episodes every week. And we did take a break for about a month, but we are back at you with another episode of our show. And what we're going to talk about is, this episode will be out the last week of May. And we're recording this as of the 22nd of May, for those wondering and curious. And, we're kind of, some people say May is the summer. Some people say May is still spring, but we know for a fact June is without a doubt summer, right?
Yep.
So we're getting into, or maybe already are into, some would say, the summertime season. What we're going to talk about on this episode of the Next Level is what that means to us, what that has meant to us, how we have felt about summer from maybe the time we were kids, teenagers growing up to now. And I'll tell you this, guys, like I'll tell you, summer, it was more like summer break, right? As a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You look forward to, as a child, when you're in school, summer break. You're ready. You're ready to not have to go to school, right? That was a big one. Or maybe some people miss going to school. Some like going to school.
I don't.
And that's fine too. But for a lot of us, we admit not having to get up early, stupid early to go to school. It meant sometimes, I think for me, the big one was getting to stay up late, right? Like, I could stay
Of
up
course, that would be the one.
Yeah, like that was the one for me.
Jeez
A lot of
Louise.
friends, a lot of people was staying up late. And I know it was like that with my mom too, because my mom, she loved, she was late. She was a night owl too, and she liked staying up late. And so she really enjoyed it because she got to do that with me from time to time. Although she worked third shift, she was up late anyway.
Oh, yeah.
But I think staying up late, I think the big one was playing video games all day. Nobody should be shocked about that as a gamer.
Not at all.
Getting to, just be at home. I think I know we touched on this like a little bit a few episodes ago, which was about a month ago now. We talked about game shows. Getting to watch The Price is Right and not have to have an excuse to stay home because you get to watch all the daytime.
Because the game shows, they weren't on like seasons. You know what I mean?
On every
They were
day.
just on.
Random episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So getting to watch like game shows, like that are on, and just getting to watch TV at a time when you're not in front, you're not at home to watch TV, right? I know those are probably some of the big ones for me as a kid. What were some of those? What did summer mean to you? What were some of those things you looked forward to when summer was rolling around? Somebody go. Just take it from here.
See, you guys are talking about, video games and, stuff like that. And I'm just like outside.
Oh yeah, that too.
I was ready to be outside.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say too.
Yeah, I was
With the
sick a
toys.
lot as a kid, so I didn't get to go out a lot in the winter. So like I was like shut in the house quite a bit. So like summer meant, nice weather, not being as sick as often, like being outside, enjoying the sun and, being with my friends and stuff. So I just really liked being outside a lot. And then as I got older, we had a pool. So I liked being out, being out in the pool and everything.
Yeah.
So that was a lot of fun for me.
Yeah, because I was actually going to correlate that with the toys that you only get to pull out of storage when it's summer.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of
Like
stuff
what?
that a lot of things that we'd have to put away because it was like, okay, well, if you guys try to play with this in the house, oh gosh,
Like what were those toys for you? What were those
like
big
one
toys
of
for
them
you?
specifically were the Super Soakers. We had a whole mess.
Oh hell yeah!
And I never
squirt
had a
guns.
super soaker.
I never had those as a
Oh
kid.
man, we would all me, my brother, like kids in the neighborhood had to have super soakers, and nobody was trying to outdo each other yet, but we're talking like super soaker had the one model, the XL90 or whatever it was. Everybody had to have that same super soaker.
The one they had on
One
the As Seen
summer.
on TV like commercials were like,
Yeah, the
you
one.
see the
So when you
kids.
picture the iconic super soaker, that's the dude I'm talking about. This is before they added extra tanks or extra power. Oh God, the year they added the backpack was horrendous.
So
Oh
we
my
didn't.
gosh.
So we didn't have the Super Soaker. We had like the Family Dollar like squirt guns. Do you
Oh, we had
remember
those
Yes.
too.
the little
We had the
clear
little bitty squirt guns.
plastic
Yes.
squirt guns you
Yeah.
had? That's what we had because we were too.
They were neon.
We could not afford a
They were
Super
like
Soaker.
neon orange and green and stuff,
Yeah.
and they came in like packs of 2 and
Yeah.
Multi-packs, yeah.
Got them from like Family Dollar or the
yeah,
Dollar
they were
Store.
They
translucent.
leaked.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh no, we had those too. Just we had that lawn mowing racket. We lived in there was a town of
Had a
like
racket.
7 kids and a whole bunch of old
Nice.
people. So we would mow their lawns.
Nice.
I mean, in the winter we
Nice.
shoveled snow and stuff. It was rake leaves in the yeah. We had a whole racket, but a lot of it went towards that super soaker money. Like we were saving
Oh
up
my
over the
God.
winter, over the spring. Like, okay, we'll buy that super soaker and be the first kid in the neighborhood to have it, the New Year's model type of thing.
That's awesome.
So I think for me, one year I got a sandbox
I had a sandbox when I was
for the summer. That was
Nice.
so fun, dude.
Was it a turtle?
No, I had the
I
like
had the big green plastic turtle. Well,
yeah,
it's
you
not
had the-
big. It was big when I was a toddler,
you
I
had
had
like the
the-
Fisher Price turtle.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
I had the actual like box, like the big thing that you would buy that was like plastic. It was huge, big square
Oh,
shape. You
wow.
get it from
Yeah.
like I don't know, Walmart or wherever they would buy them back then.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
you set it, and they would go about 3 feet with sand,
Mhm.
2 or 3 feet with sand. You get in, and I'd make sand castles. My mom would get me buckets and stuff. And I remember one year
Man, I forgot about sandboxes, dude. How could I have forgotten about that?
I got so excited. So see,
That
my
was like the sensor, like now they have
Yeah.
those little sensory trays and stuff like
Yeah,
that. Now
we
just
had
stick
just
your kid in the middle
giant
of a
sandbox.
sandbox.
So
yeah.
see, my
Frank
birthday.
it way back.
See, my
Yeah.
birthday falls right around summertime. So like I remember one year, my mom got me a swing set for my birthday.
Oh yeah, I had a swing set when
And I was like, fuck yeah, dude. I said that, but like I was like, heck
I didn't even
yeah.
know what that meant when you were a kid.
I told my
But
mom, heck yeah, no, but like I was just thinking to myself, like, yeah, like the swing set, busting out the swing set, and I remember watching my mom put it together, and I had a seesaw. Remember the seesaws? You sit on one end, and
I didn't have that on my
I had
swing set. Oh,
the one
yeah,
that
mine
would
was a little
swing.
wood swing.
Yeah,
Yes.
back and forth, and
Yes,
one would
I
go
had
up
one
higher
of
than
those.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. That
Yeah, we had the
basket.
bougie swing set. So we had the swing set, and then I had a slide.
hmm
And my
Yeah.
friends were jealous because I had the slide, and they were too poor to have the. They had the swing set that was just 2 like swings that had nothing else on it. But I had like this. I had 3 swings on mine, and the seesaw
Oh.
and
Man.
slide.
It's like,
See,
oh,
mine
yeah.
had 2. Are you sure you had 3 swings? Mine had 2 swings.
No,
the
mine had.
seesaw and the slide.
Oh wait, my bad. You're right. Mine had
Mhm.
two swings, a
That was the
seesaw,
pretty basic one.
and a slide.
Yeah.
That was like a big deal in my neighborhood.
Oh, absolutely.
So I had kids coming over when hang out and shit.
Well, so when
Yeah.
I had my
Just to play
swing
any
set,
swing set.
I was younger, so I didn't have a lot of people come over and get on the swing set with me or anything. But my dog, Bowser, he was a Scottish Terrier and he loved going down the slide. It was the cutest thing ever.
Oh, that's
He
hilarious.
couldn't climb the ladder. He had short little stubby legs because he was a terrier. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
but he could slide down the slide. He
Yeah.
loved it. And then I can't remember. I think it was like maybe 7, something like that when when I had the swing set.
Right.
Maybe 6, I don't know. And as I got older, I mean, like I outgrew it, it fell apart and everything. And another thing that I look forward to during the summer were yard sales because
Yes.
Oh my God, my mom and grandma love going to
so
yard sales.
not only, and I've talked about this on other episodes, but not only did we go to yard sales, but we had our own. And we would have these massive, like 4-day yard sales, which these I didn't really like because it was a lot of work. It was a lot of work. I
Yeah.
much rather would have gone to yard sales, but
Absolutely. We had
it's
yard
a lot of work having a yard sale, but that's how we got the pool. So when I got
Mhm.
older, and we had these massive yard sales, we had like 2 yard sales one summer, and we made enough money almost to like get this. It was an above ground pool. It wasn't like anything super fancy, but it was still a pool.
Mhm.
We took down the old swing set and everything and built this pool in the backyard.
Very
And
cool.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, that's
but
cool.
freaking yard sale money.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we
No
went
yard
to
sale.
we I think one of the favorite things was for me was summer movies coming out when you were a kid.
No,
And
I'm
like
still talking
we
about yard sales.
oh, yard sales, my bad. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
you guys
Yeah.
got me on the swing set too.
Hmm.
Yard sales. We so
Okay.
I didn't grow up in a big town, but what we did have was the summer fish fry, and with the fish fry came yard sales, and everybody just
Yes.
like, oh man, if somebody didn't have a yard sale every year, they do like in every other year, and everybody went to
Yep.
everybody yard sale, and it's not that we were like specifically going to shop; it was just going to see what shit they had.
Oh,
But
we do. We went to shop it. I mean,
oh,
like my mom clothed me with the clothes from yard
oh,
sale. I mean,
yeah,
like it was especially as a kid when kids grow so fast. I mean, it just benefits you so much more to go to yard sales and thrift stores and stuff than to buy
oh
new
yeah,
clothes all the
oh
time.
yeah. Well, so the reason that I had so many cool toys and stuff as a kid, and I'm not even kidding. You guys remember Rupert from Survivor?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
Oh,
so
I remember you telling us a little bit about this before.
okay,
Yeah.
so not him, but his personal assistant
Yeah.
lived like down the block and around the corner from me,
Nice.
and he was just as big as nerd as I grew into being. And
That's
he would
funny.
just have so much like top tier shit. We're talking San Diego Comic Con exclusives. We're talking
Hmm.
like numbered signed, action figure pieces, little statues and stuff like that. I bought so many fucking Star Wars figures from this guy. Uh, man, it was crazy. And I pretty much outbidded myself with this dude, like at his expense, essentially.
Yeah.
I never got to thank him personally because it was like his mom was always running it for him because he was always busy and he'd be like, yeah, put this box out, Sally, here's the prices. And it was crazy. And I think about it to this day. I bought an entire like all the way up through where they left the prison comic book issues of Walking Dead.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
I bought that, I mean,
I never
several years
read that.
before the show came out.
Nice.
So we're talking like first run printing of it. Man, I sold that later in life and I like paid my rent and bought a couple of things with it. Like
That's
it
cool.
was
That's funny.
oh yeah. I think I
You know
paid
what?
maybe $15 for them all.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
I remember like just kind of growing up in the 90s too, like in the summer, you get excited for like we used to go to church. I used to go to church as a kid, right?
Mhm.
And our youth group, we used to do that. You ever do the parachute game where you go outside and take a big, like that big, huge parachute and you run underneath it?
No, I know
Oh,
what
we
you're
did
Like
talking
that
about
at
though. We
school.
did that when I was,
that thing?
yeah, I know what you're talking
Yeah,
about. We did that when I was a counselor at camp, but I never actually did it when I was a kid.
We did that at
yeah,
school. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I think we did that at school too.
Nice.
Um, what about like, did you guys ever have a slip and slide? Those were like so huge back then
I didn't.
during the
Dude,
summer.
No.
I
yes.
never had
That
one
would
of
be
those. Yeah,
another yard toy that you could only play with during the
Hmm.
summer, the slip and slide. Throwing
yeah,
back to the beginning of the episode.
yeah.
Um, oh man. Yeah.
Slip and
Uh,
slides too.
I
okay.
had a
So
badminton set.
badminton
What?
set. Okay.
That's interesting.
So it's kind of like tennis, but not, the little things that
Yeah,
are called birdies.
you
Yeah, I
can just
played it.
like set
Yeah.
it up
Yeah,
real
I played.
quick.
I know what
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I got one, like I won one at school or something for selling the most, whatever. And I got a badminton set one year and set that up in the yard.
Nice.
This was again when I was younger.
Did any of you guys ever do the summer reading program at school?
Yes.
Hell
Like,
yeah.
yeah.
Love
Dude,
the summer
I'm a
reading
You
reader.
program.
got like
Cool.
points
Yeah.
and you had to
So
trade them in and
so I'm
Yeah.
really
earn
excited because
prizes.
there are 2 libraries close to us that are participating in an adult reading program this summer, and
Adult
I'm
summer reading.
so excited. Well, it's for all ages.
What?
Have an adult category.
Yeah.
And I'm so excited. And I don't know, I mean, like I remember my mom, reading and going with me and everything too. I mean, like my mom was a huge reader too, but I don't know if they had, programs for adults back then or not, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I just like I remember doing the summer reading program and I used to love reading the Goosebumps books as a kid.
Dude.
And that was something I would do like during the
Yeah.
summer and stuff. So it's just like summer when you're a kid.
Mhm.
is like this magical time of the year
Yeah.
when you're a
Infinite
kid,
playtime.
right?
It's
When you're
Saturday every
when
day.
when you're
Yeah.
a child, right? When you're a kid,
Yes.
because everything's
Yes.
bigger when you're a kid. And then I
Yes.
remember like, you know, so you don't have to go to school. Now you have way more time to do things. So like I remember like, you know, like hopping on the bus with my mom because we didn't have a car. I never had a car growing up.
Mhm.
And so we took the public transportation everywhere. The Indigo is what it's called now. It was the Metro back in the day
Metro. Yeah.
in Indianapolis. But I just remember,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, you know, just being able to go places with my
Mhm.
grandma, and mom, and taking the bus to like Eastgate Mall or going to Washington Square,
Yeah.
walking. You know, you guys were talking about yard sales. We went to thrift shops. We go to like DAV,
Yeah. We went to thrift stores too.
Goodwill.
Church rummage sales. They used to have
Yeah, we used to
the
go to
rummage
those
sales in
too.
the basement of the churches. They used to, for
Yeah,
some reason, they used to always be in the basements. Now I don't think
yeah,
they always are,
yeah.
but for some reason, they would have the church rummage sales
Church
always in
has
the
had big
basement.
sales. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Oh,
where I
okay.
grew up at in the hood, we had yard sales time to time in the hood there. But I mean,
Up not far from you. It wasn't the
yeah,
hood.
it
We had
was.
yard sales all the
I
time.
mean, yeah, we had them not as frequent there, but where you are from, you were closer to Christian Park. I
Yeah.
was closer to Washington Sherman, more closer to downtown. You guys definitely had way more yard sales. We did not have as many yard sales.
I was literally
Had a
like
yard sale,
two blocks and around the corner away from him. Like we lived very close to
but
each
that's still far enough away for it to be completely different. Completely
I
different.
lived in a little Flowers neighborhood.
Oh
So
yeah, I know that's
other.
right. Yeah.
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 Mhm.
I lived when my first marriage, we lived one street away from being the Little Flower neighborhood. But I went to Little
Okay.
Flower for a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I was gonna say earlier was talking about movies coming out during the summer when you're a kid.
Yes.
So I remember never really going to the movies during school.
Yeah.
Like never going, like even like when when you get those only 2 days away from school during the year,
Mhm.
outside
Okay.
of like fall break or winter break. Um, but man, when like movies came out during the summer, it was great because you could go see. I would go see a movie with my mom because my mom worked third shift, so it was great
Okay.
because when she was awake was when I was also awake. So I
Yeah.
remember one time we went and saw Jurassic Park together. I
Oh,
actually
nice.
remember specifically. This is a memory I just like struck me. So
Mhm.
I don't know if you remember this, Josh. I don't know if you were living in Indy at the time. Do you
Okay.
remember Commander Casey, like from Fox 59?
TV on
She
TV. Fuck yes.
she was like a fucking like mascot, and that was
I
like back when
Yep.
like mascots were big. We had
Yep.
Sammy Terry, we
Dude,
had
I love me some Sammy Terry.
I did too.
we had Cowboy Bob. You remember Cowboy Bob?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking Cowboy Bob. And then you had like
Bozo the
well that's not local, but like local to us.
Kind
local.
of.
I
He was
don't
I,
from
I did used to
Chicago.
watch Bozo the Clown in the summer though. That was a fun thing to do.
Dude, yeah. I watched Bozo all year round.
But I
Yeah, I watched
remember
him before school.
about what I remember about the reason why I brought up Commander Casey is because I had a crush on her because she was kind of cute.
Adorable.
And like and like but what's funny is she used to do contests like on the weekends because it was Fox Kids weekend, right? Fucking Ninja Turtles and fucking X-Men and Spider-Man, all the good shit.
Rocks Kids.
Yeah.
Rocks Kids.
Had the best
See, like,
cartoons.
I was a few years
So
older, so I was not into that stuff.
so I remember one year I was big into Home Alone. I mean, I'm still big into those movies.
Yes, you are.
And Macaulay Culkin did a movie called Richie Rich,
Yes.
right? So Commander Casey had
Oh,
this was back
yes.
when all they did was do phone contests. You had to call in. It wasn't like now where you had to go on the internet. So it was all live,
Oh
and
my
she would
God, I
cut
love
in.
the phone con.
She would cut in like during she would kind of host the Saturday morning cartoon thing, and she'd say, "All right, if you're the 10th caller, you'll win 2 tickets to go see Richie Rich," and I won.
Oh,
And
Nice.
and my mom was like, go ahead and call her. And she answered, and I got real shy because it was her, and I
oh.
had like kind of a crush on her.
How old were you?
I was probably like fucking like 6, 7 years old,
Oh
maybe
no,
eight.
when
That's
did
that's
Richie Rich come
I
out?
okay.
remember when Richie Rich came out. When did Richie Rich come out?
Um,
God, when did that movie come out?
I'm
It
looking.
was in the it was definitely a '90s flick.
yeah.
Then you weren't.
Here's something that's gonna blow your
Oh,
mind. Did you know that's a comic book movie?
Yes.
yeah, I know.
Okay.
Now, when did that come out? Richie Rich, the movie. Uh, came out.
94.
Yeah. So I was like 10. Okay, I was
December
10.
21st of 1990,
So I was so
1994.
I was 10. So I was still a little kid. So but yeah, I remember like having a crush on her and stuff, and my mom was like, she was like, "Can I talk to your mom?" I was like, "Yeah," and she did. And we won the tickets, and they gave us these like back in the day when you won tickets to a movie from a contest,
You had to go.
Mhm.
you had to go pick them up in person, or they
Yep.
would mail them to you. They mailed them to us because we didn't have a car.
Oh,
And they would give you like commemorative tickets to the movie. And I remember getting these giant like tickets that had like the poster from Richie Rich on it.
oh,
And we
that's
went,
so nice.
yeah, I wish we still had those, but like, yeah, I remember going and winning those tickets and seeing that with my mom. We never went
Very
to
cool.
we did go to the drive-in a few times.
I
The
was gonna
one,
bring up the
what was it
drive-in.
called? The drive-in over in Indy. What's it
Twin
called?
Air.
Twin Air Drive-In. Yeah.
Mhm.
And
I hate it when you do.
and I asked and we would go there and we saw like Who Framed Roger Rabbit one time and stuff like that. But you know, we had to know somebody who had a car because we didn't have a car. So but yeah. So that was kind of the things I kind of looked forward to in the summer
Oh
was
yeah.
just kind of
W-
I guess getting to spend more time with my mom and getting to do kind
Yeah.
of cool stuff with her,
Yeah.
you know, and just kind of doing family stuff because I had at one point a big family, and we always get together and just do kind of cool shit. Like I remember one thing my grandpa used to do during the summer was there's a little Dairy Queen down the street.
Yep.
This is more in Raven's neighborhood than it was mine.
Yeah.
Um, and I remember sitting on those benches on the side.
Yep.
Remember where they were?
Yeah. Those
And
big cement
those
block
big
Benson
cement block
benches.
benches.
Yeah.
And my grandpa would take me over there, and my take me and my mom over there. And we get Dairy Queen, and
Yep.
doing
I
that during the summer was so much fun.
Yeah, speaking going back to kind of like the movies and the drive-ins and stuff, I was
Yeah.
gonna mention that now too. So yeah, I loved going to the drive-in. We didn't get to go a whole lot, but we would go and
Oh
like
yeah.
I don't even remember like watching a lot of movies there. Like because we really did just I mean like we probably fell asleep. You know what I mean? Like we really
Mhm.
did just go because it was so cool to watch a movie outside in your car, and you had speakers that put on the side of the windows and
And you
everything.
paid by the carload, so you would just
Yeah.
whoever's friends wanted to come
Yeah.
too. Fuck it, let's all go in
Yep.
the car. Yeah. Because we
Yeah,
had a
they didn't
drive-in
start
theater.
paying per person until later. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, because we had a drive-in theater where
Hmm.
when I was real little and grew up, and we had a drive-in theater, and then we also had like this really old theater, and it was called the Strand, and it was just like I think it had like maybe 4 or 5 actual theaters in it, but it's kind of like a big deal for being out in the middle of nowhere type of thing. And I
Right.
mean it was the middle of town, but we're talking about Crawfordsville here, so this is a very small town, an
Hmm.
hour away from Indianapolis type of thing. Um,
Yeah.
so we went and saw Mortal Kombat, the original Mortal Kombat movie at the drive-in.
That's
And
Nice.
awesome.
it was a problem where it was too dark
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
like we couldn't really see anything.
Hmm.
So the agreement was okay, in a couple of weeks we'll go see it at the Strand, right? So this
Yeah.
theater was so old and fucking decrepit by the time we went because it ended up literally falling in. Like if you like looking into crazy real life stories, just Google the Strand Theater collapsing on itself. But
Jeez.
Oh shit.
the air conditioner went out.
Oh no.
And we were so like we thought we were hot and uncomfortable watching it at the drive-in theater. Fuck no. We were having a bad time watching it at the theater. But I just
Yeah.
remember laughing with my brother because you see that S on the side? It stands for shit. This place is shit. And we were young enough that saying shit was enough to laugh for a good half
Yeah.
hour alone. You
Oh,
know?
that's
But
great.
yeah, that's definitely Mortal Kombat is a movie that I will always associate with the summer.
That's
Um,
funny. Yeah,
there were
they opened the drive-in near us. There's one drive-in near us. It's like what, 40, 45 minutes away, but it's totally worth the drive.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
it's already been open and we were gonna go, but last weekend or the weekend before, I don't remember. I think it was last weekend
Something like
and
that. Yeah.
it got canceled because of the rain. We had some really bad storms.
Oh
So
yeah.
like, yeah, so it got canceled. And I was really bummed, but because they were playing Clown in the Cornfield, which I really want to see
Oh,
that.
I want to see that too.
Yeah, it's actually I found out right after that it's based on a book, a young adult book.
Yes.
but I
Right.
didn't know that. But yeah, it's I want to see that. But we were gonna go. They were playing The Sinners and
Oh
Cloud
yeah.
Cornfield, but now it's different movies, and I'm bummed.
It's I don't know where this year has gone because I feel like there's so
Hmm.
many things that I'm planning on doing and it's coming up, and now I've already completely, I think I've missed Sinners in theater, and if not, I've got too many other things. I'm just
Yeah,
gonna have to wait until I can watch it at home.
Yeah.
Um,
yeah.
like we were gonna go see Final Destination this past Tuesday.
Yes.
Um, I had to go to the BMV. All I'm gonna say is we went to do things with the government involving road license, and it took forever. So by the time it was like, okay, well, luckily I didn't buy the tickets yet. I guess we'll go see it next week. I have a very strange feeling that we're not going to go see Final Destination next week, and it's going to become another movie that we like didn't see. But
I really
we
want to
had a
see
good
that in the
start.
theater.
Oh yeah, well we had a good start of the year. We were just seeing a movie every week, and then life started happening again. And
Right.
that's
Yeah.
but summer is
So
about watching movies.
yeah, so back to that. So I know another thing that I enjoyed. I don't know about you guys. I
Mhm.
sleepovers. Did you ever do like that during the
Oh
summer?
yeah,
Okay,
speaking
so
of
we
watching
did.
movies all night, sleepovers and movies.
So hold on. So we did sleepovers and
Yeah.
um I did those more as I got a little bit older.
Yeah, for sure.
Like I didn't have them when I was like, like 8, 9.
Oh no,
I had them as a teenager. Like I remember
I
going
had
to
one. I think when I was 9, that was it.
I remember going to like a friend's house and I never saw Mortal Kombat in theater. I saw it
Oh
at his
man.
house on VHS.
Okay.
And you have to understand, like when that movie came out, I was not old enough to go see that movie. So,
Oh yeah, me
and
either.
there
Yeah.
was no way in hell my mom was going to take me to go see that movie.
I say, Brian,
So,
you're a couple of years older than me. Yeah.
yeah, so we went and I just watched it at a friend's house. And then he had like a VHS collection. He had a lot of movies on VHS. And so we
Yes.
were just like, we were just kind of planning it. We're like, I go over to his house late at night and we just watch a movie.
Hmm.
And so like I watched Green Mile for the first time over there. I watched The
Yeah.
Shawshank Redemption for the first time over there because he had all these tapes.
Hmm.
Um, did you guys ever have like a camcorder?
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Like one
Yep.
that you used, not your parents, but one that like kind of
I
a
mean, we
friend
all
had or
no. I mean, like we were allowed to use it too.
yeah. But we
No,
used to
I had
do
one. It was the one thing I wanted one year.
Yeah.
yeah, we used to so like my buddy Mark, my old buddy Mark, we so we talk we love pro wrestling, right? And which by the way, if you don't know, we have another
What's
show we
that?
do. It's called A Bunch of Marks where we talk about pro wrestling. Just go check it out. But we used to do my buddy Mark and I, we were real big into pro wrestling as kids. And so we used to film matches that we did.
Oh, that's funny.
And when his parents moved and they moved out to a bigger house out in a town called Morristown, Indiana,
Oh wow, I forgot
which is like fucking like country as shit. There's like nothing out there. His parents bought a house and they built a deck with an in-ground pool. It's like you go out to their deck and there's a pool there and it's just super nice. So what we used to do is there was a ramp that went from like the door to the pool and that was our entrance ramp. So we used to like,
This
you know,
is the first time I've ever heard about.
we didn't have back in the day we didn't have like a fucking phone you could pick up and hit play for the entrance music. No, you had to like so we had like WWE the Music Volume 3 on CD. And so what we would do is like on CD players you could like remember on CD players you could like put your favorite track and it would go up to that
Yes.
track
Yeah.
that you could do like a preset of like 4 different tracks and you just hit the button and it would skip to that next favorite on the CD.
Yep.
So what we would do is like we'd say, okay, who's going out first? All right, who do you want to be? I'll be Triple H. So I'd be like, all right, I'd go to Triple H's theme and hit it at like 2, and then I'd save it. And then he'd ask me, who do you want to be? I'd be like, I'll be Stone Cold. And so we'd find where Stone Cold's track was, and it would be like track 6, and we'd favorite
Yeah.
it. So one of Mark's sisters would be out there hanging out. She's like, because they were younger than us. They wanted to always hang out with their brother. That's how kind of like.
Right.
And they're like, oh, can we hang out with you guys while we watch you wrestle? And so we were like, yeah, as long as you can do our entrance music for us. So we would teach her to like, okay, go from 2 to like 6 when I come out, and she
That
would.
is hilarious.
And so that's how we did like entrance music because now you can just pick
That's
up a
great.
phone and go to
I wish
then-
these videos still existed.
I wish they did too because they were cool as shit. And then we'd have a full-on wrestling match out in the deck, and then we'd do moves into the pool. And the pool wasn't like deep, so because I can't swim. I don't know how to
We
swim.
used to have kids come over and jump off our garage roof into our pool.
Oh, I believe that.
But anyway, go ahead.
But I didn't know how to. I still don't know how to swim, by the way, for those who don't know that. So like,
No.
it was shallow enough water, so it was probably like, I don't know, like 5 foot, and I'm like 5'11", so like it wasn't a big deal. I was still tall then too, so we
Mm.
just be hitting like RKO's off each other into the
That's
pool.
hilarious.
I remember like power bombing because Mark was like such a smaller kid than me, so I'd power bomb him.
Because
into
you're
the
not
pool.
supposed to do any of that stuff in shallow water.
And then like one time we had a ladder match, but we put
Yeah.
and we actually grabbed a ladder, a real one.
Well, yeah.
And he was like, "My dad's gonna get so pissed if we do this." And he was
Wait,
like,
whoa, not the pool ladder. You guys got like
"No, a
an
fucking
actual
genuine ladder."
Oh my
So,
god.
and I was okay. So like in the show Rugrats, Tommy's the one that wants to do all the shit, and then Chucky's like, "We bet that's not a good idea."
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was Tommy, and my friend was Chucky.
was
I don't
Tommy.
think we should do that. And I'm like, "No, come on, man, your dad's not gonna care." So, but see, I wouldn't go get it. It was his ladder. He had to go get it. So I was like, "You should go grab your dad's ladder out of the garage, and we'll have a ladder match." He's like, "Where are we gonna put it?" In the pool. We did. We put the fucking ladder. Have you ever seen a ladder in a pool match? No, you haven't
Oh
because you
my
haven't seen it
God.
until you've seen us do it. And it was fun until one of us almost got hit in the head with the ladder because it fell over in the water. But like, dude, we actually were like
Goodness.
doing moves off of the ladder. We climb up.
How
Yeah.
have I never heard this
Like,
before? No, like seriously, of all the wrestling podcasts and episodes,
I don't know.
everything we've done,
I don't
you have not talked about this.
I don't know. It's summer. We're talking about summer.
That's freaking
We're talking about
hilarious.
summer.
But we put ladder in a pool match, and we put the fucking because he had such a huge ass pool. We put the ladder in the middle, and I know it's hard to get to stay there. So we were smart. He had like weights, and we had weights to make it stay in the water, and we just fucking like hit moves off of it and shit. It was kind of cool. And then like we just do all kinds of crazy shit, like wrestling, like backyard. We even did backyard wrestling. Like
yeah.
I know, Josh, you did that shit. Like we
I
have
know nothing
mattresses
about
and
wrestling of any type.
we did shut the
on
fuck
this show.
up. Yeah, right. But we used to fucking like get we do matches on the fucking bed. Sometimes we like power bomb each other, and then we go out. And like I remember one time there was a church trip during the summer to this place that was like I forget where it was at. It's in like Johnson County. It's in Greenwood.
Mm.
And it was like a family fun center. They had like bowling and they had like
Mhm.
all these mats. And they
Oh
I don't
no.
know, like a kind of like a fit. So me and I know you know Matt Ham. You remember him?
Yeah. Yeah.
So me and we used to be good friends. And so me, Matt, our old buddy Tyler, we all saw that and we're like, oh, we're gonna call it the coolest wrestling match ever.
Oh my god.
And we fucking like, you know those like mats that are like a triangle that lays down and you're supposed to lay on them, and like lay and do shit with your legs like for exercise. It's like a triangle shaped mat that you lay on. So we would run up that and like do kicks on each other and land on the mats and shit. And I remember one time we went there and we had some of the other kids in our youth group would watch us do a wrestling match in the fitness center. And I remember like youth pastor and the people that was like would work that were the older people, the adults, they'd be like, you guys can't be doing that kind of stuff. Like I'm like, why we're having fun, we're not hurting each other. Didn't hurt. So
Right.
hell yeah. I mean,
That's
wrestling,
great.
like doing backyard wrestling. I wanted to be a wrestler. That's what I wanted to do
I mean, yeah.
when I was a kid. I wanted to be a wrestler, and I actually wanted to be a tag team wrestler. I had so much fun doing that shit as a kid. But as a kid, that's a lot of the shit that I used to do was like play outside, go have sleepovers. I remember like my
Mhm.
grandma would fucking like, God rest her soul. She loved having us all over at the house when I
So
lived
did my
there.
mom.
She
Yeah.
loved having all of us over. She'd be like, you can have all your friends over at the same time if you want. So we'd have one big like sleepover. I mean, as a guy, you don't call it a sleepover. That kind of sounds like
Right.
something a chick would say. That's what we
Now, my
that's
mom
so
always called it a
stupid.
sleepover if I had anybody stay the night. She'd be like, "Oh, you guys
Yeah.
having a sleepover?"
Yeah.
And it's like, "Cool, thanks for making it weird."
Yeah, thanks for making it sound bad, sound
Yeah.
stupid. So but like we that's what it was, right?
I was gonna say it's what
That's
it
just
was.
what it
You had
was.
friends
So
that slept over.
I remember one time
Yeah,
my
staying
grandma
up,
would
eating
have us.
potato chips, farting,
Heck
whatever.
yeah. Yeah, we used to like stay up. She would get us like 4 bags of pizza rolls and we'd play fucking No Mercy all night. And
Yeah, playing
remember,
video
like-
games and reading comics all night, dude.
yeah, and then like I remember like
Some of my
my
best
buddy
ones.
Tyler would come over
Mhm.
and he'd have a notepad and he used to actually like write like scripts and we would make it like an actual fed that we would do on a notepad. So every time we'd come over, we'd have like promos and shit, and we'd just like make up like storylines. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And but I remember one thing my grandma used to do was, it doesn't matter now, she's passed away a long time ago, but she used to write bad checks to get us pizza. She was like, I'm gonna get you guys pizza because I know you guys want pizza. And she would like bounce checks at Papa John's just to get us pizza.
Oh my gosh.
Because she was like, it doesn't matter, I'm old, I'm gonna die soon anyway. I want my
Dude,
grandson and his friends to have fun.
Yeah.
And so she didn't care. She never got in
your
trouble.
your
But
grandma was some pizza place manager's like worst nightmare. Like
absolutely she was.
he had her name memorized.
Yeah, she didn't give a fuck.
So
They let her keep doing it.
So
Oh
my
yeah.
sleepovers, yeah, my sleepovers were a little bit different. I mean, like we were really into all of the like spooky stuff. So like
Oh, that's cool.
I mean like if we
Yeah.
watched movies and stuff, like they were always scary movies. We rented so and
Hell yeah.
like you were saying that your grandma was, like enjoyed having everybody over. My mom was the neighborhood mom. And
Yeah.
every time we
Mm.
had
Yeah.
a new friend join the group or whatever, or a friend of a friend, or I mean, like, and my friend group was a lot of guys and gals. Like, it wasn't. I mean, we probably had more guy friends. I've always grown up having more guy friends than girlfriends. There was like
Sure.
me, Marina, and Jolanda, and like that was it for us girls.
Right.
But everybody called us the Three Musketeers, and we would even
That's
stay at each
adorable.
other's house, like during the school year, because me and
Mm.
Marina went to the same school. I mean, like Jolanda did for a little while too. So I mean, it was nothing for all of us to get up and go to the same school. It was fine.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but during the summer, we had a lot of guy friends and everybody come over too, and we would stay up until like midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning or
Yeah.
whatever. And sometimes a
Word.
couple of the guys would sleep downstairs in the living room, and mom would sleep upstairs with us girls in the bedroom or whatever.
Yeah.
And just because,
I get it.
safety, whatever.
Safety. Yeah.
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 And I mean, we weren't thinking about that stuff. We were like 12, but we would always watch creepy movies. But what I started to say was every time we had a new friend join the group, or a friend of a friend or whatever, we would
Yeah.
rent the same movie because this new person had to see this movie. And it was Witchboard.
Was it like an initiation?
I guess. I don't know. I don't know what we did.
That
But
was your initiation.
it was
That's great.
it was Witchboard. And I've literally
Never
seen
seen
that movie like 17 times. I'm not kidding you. And we would go down to what was that? It wasn't Family Video. It was the one in Twin Air. I don't even remember what it was called.
Hollywood Video.
I don't know.
It was Hollywood Video.
But we would
Oh,
go
the
there
video.
and rent this VHS tape and pop this movie in and watch it. But we would always watch like scary movies. But we didn't go to the movie theater and everything a lot. We didn't have a lot of like extra money to spend or whatever. My mom would
Yeah.
have much rather have had everybody over to the house. So we played creepy games. We told creepy stories by candlelight. We'd all sit around the dining room table with like a candle or two lit, and we just tell creepy stories, some of them true, some of them not,
Yeah.
and my mom was an
Okay.
amazing storyteller. And we would go for drives sometimes late at night, and mom would take us to like little creepy areas,
Nice.
like, oh, well, this is the house that, this happened and, stuff. And we would just drive around the neighborhood and tell stories. And, that was my kind of sleepover. And then when it was just us girls, we would do light as a feather, stiff as a board. That was
Oh
always
yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like, of course we had fun. We watched concerts, we watched New Kids and,
When
and
they
stuff
had
like
to
that too.
when they had to
But
watch the movie,
yeah.
because that was like the initiation, did you guys all look at the person to see if they were cool?
Oh, of course
Like,
watched for reaction. You
Oh
know what I
yeah.
mean? Because at that point
we gotta do that. Like, are they
we
cool?
knew where all the
Right.
jump scares and everything were. And so, like we had to see how they reacted.
We had to make sure that their reaction was like, okay, they're cool. Like
It
they
was
like,
legit.
yeah,
Yeah.
had to make sure they're cool.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
And of course the guys would always try to be like, I'm not scared and everything. But this movie, like they had some jump scares. Like it didn't matter how many times we saw it. We knew it was coming and we still jumped.
Yeah.
I don't even know. I bet that's the cheesiest movie ever now. I haven't even watched it as an adult.
I've
I don't
never
think.
seen that movie. But yeah, it was like movies, and then there's music. Like I remember.
Oh gosh.
So this is another thing I didn't.
Well, I had mentioned we watched New Kids.
This is another thing I've never shared.
Oh,
So
Lord.
be ready. my old buddy Mark and I, because he was probably the closest friend I had as a kid, we we had a phase. We had a Fred Durst phase where we were
Oh
like
no.
super into Limp Bizkit. Shut, shut up.
He hit us with that right when
Man.
I took
We
a
were
drink.
I was super
I just
we
took a
were
drink of water.
we were super into Limp Bizkit. It was probably the whitest thing we could have ever done as kids. And we took it so far that like one time we
Like
shaved.
teenagers, right?
Yeah. So like one time we like went to school and we tried having like red hats on backwards like he did in the fucking music video. Which one was that? I
God.
think it was God, which one is that? Break Stuff, the music video where he's like in a white shirt with his red hat on backwards. And we
That's
tried
like all of
looking
them.
like yeah, that's like all of them. Like, yeah, every
Yeah.
single one. And so like we tried being like that, you know. And then I remember we went from like a super hardcore Fred Durst phase to we really got into Creed and like one extreme to the other. And then another fun thing was
I
that
wouldn't
we
say
used to
Creed
do.
and then we're like away one extreme to the other, but go
And
ahead.
then we went and then like another fun thing to do was um getting every single new now that's what I call music
Oh my gosh.
CD that will come out during the summer.
Oh wow, yeah.
And trying to like see if like there was any songs we had never heard before because we listened to like music a lot. And
Yeah.
that was just a fun thing to do. But yeah, like but like, you know, comic books, I know like Josh is probably the one that's probably read the more comic books than I have when I was a kid.
Oh
I
sure.
my thing with comic books during the summer and stuff was but you gotta understand this was an era where the only media outside of reading a comic book where you could get to know about comics was like cartoons,
Yeah.
right? We
Mhm.
didn't have really good movies like that, you know, in the 90s growing up there and things. Except for once I got to being like, when did Spider-Man the movie come out with Tobey Maguire, the first one? When did
I
that
want
come
to say
out?
2001.
I was
Right.
gonna say early
Because
2000s.
So I was a late teenager when that came out.
Yeah.
So early teenager when I came out.
No,
So
you were late
I was like 15, 16 when that came out. And
You were 17.
that was like, you know, a big deal. But I remember like my only when it came to comics, I would read like Captain America. Spider-Man's always been my favorite. I was big into Spider-Man as a kid.
Mhm.
Same.
I didn't even know that the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was a comic
Oh
until
yeah.
later in life. Until later in life, like much later in life. I think I was like 20 when I found out
That's funny. I
that was a
even knew
comic.
it was a
I
comic.
was like, wait, it was? And someone was like, yeah, and it's like dark as fuck. You need to read it. Because they like fucking
Yeah.
murder shit out of people and it's like bloody. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And you know, it's just like, and let's talk about that because we're getting later into this show. And
Mhm.
now I want to talk about what does summer mean to us as adults now?
Yeah.
I fucking
Because
hate summer.
Wow.
Sorry.
Why?
I
Okay,
fucking
I
hate
got.
summer.
Well,
Show's over.
you set the tone. Why do you fucking hate summer? What is it about summer that you
It's
hate?
hot. There's bugs. There's always fucking teenagers around when I'm trying to do shopping and errands.
Okay,
It's
but
because I'm old, Brian. It's because I'm old.
I'm not. You're not like 85
He is a
years old.
grandfather, okay?
He is a grandfather, Grandpa.
Right. But no, legitimately though, I'm just tired of the heat. I
That I
I'm
can
I'm I'm too
completely
busy to
consent
dick
with.
with it anymore. You know, maybe I need to move somewhere where it doesn't get as hot, but Rachel
for
doesn't like
me-
cold, so
I think for me,
Oh,
the heat is.
dude. See, and it's just the opposite. Like, I would love to move somewhere where it's cooler, and Brian's like, me.
Nah, I deal with. I think I deal with heat way better than I deal with cold. I cannot
Psycho.
stand my body being cold. And for
Put
me,
some more
it's-
clothes on.
right?
I can
There's
go.
only so many clothes you can take off, but you can
That's
like
fine.
bundle up
You
like
can go to the
nobody's
pool. You can pour water on your head. There's things to do. You can get towels
pour
wet.
water on you.
There's ways to cool down. And I think cooling down to me, I will say that between warming up and cooling off,
Mhm.
I think cooling off feels better than warming up. I
No, it
think
absolutely
cooling
does.
down,
Mhm.
I think cooling down from a hot heat feels better because it's quicker.
Yeah.
Warming up takes longer, right? Because
Yeah.
you can just jump in a
Unless
pool.
you're in perimenopause and then it's all just like
Well,
hell.
yeah, that's true. But like you
can't cool off easy.
but typically you can cool off easier usually. and then
Right,
because
right, right.
warming up takes forever because then you got like depending on who you are and what health problems you got, like Ravens for instance, there were things going on with your body. Happens because of who you are. Um,
I'm much
sometimes
better now.
sometimes your appendages take longer to warm up. I know my feet take forever to get warm. So
Yeah.
like it just and as you get older too, your body naturally becomes colder and colder as you get older. So
Yeah.
for me, I still like. I think what's the more refreshing feeling is like being really hot and going into a pool
Yeah.
versus
Yeah, I can see.
warming up, because warming up takes a lot longer, and you're shivering, especially for that cold. And we live in the Midwest, and it does get that cold here.
Yeah.
But as far as summer for me as an adult, I'm 41 now. I think that for me, yeah,
Just turned
like
41. That sounds
Yes.
no, I'm just saying
Yes,
that
I'm
sounds so
41.
weird to hear you say
but
that now.
but
You're 41.
being as that I'm pushing towards my mid 40s, I'm getting there. Is I think for me, summer is now has that inverse effect. Like I don't feel the way I felt as a kid, but that can be true about anything in life. You're never going to feel the same way you felt about a lot of things you did as a kid,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
So of course we're old. So summer, like, oh, it's fucking hot.
Yeah.
I can't stand the fucking heat. We're out here watching the weather channel and weather, trying to figure out what the fuck how the day's gonna go.
I
When
gotta
you're
go
a
to work
kid,
anyway.
when you're a kid,
Yeah.
you don't give a shit.
Man,
You
it's
know,
so nice
yeah,
outside and I gotta work all day today.
right. And then like you realize like, um, yeah, God, just like I don't know. And then you start liking water when you're a child. You don't want to drink water. You want to drink
Yeah.
soda all the time. Now, when you get old, you're like, no, you're going to get type 2 diabetes. You can't drink soda. So now you got to drink fucking water. And it's just, and then you got to drink it even more because you don't want to get dehydrated because it's so damn hot outside.
Yeah.
But not only that, but like you said, the fucking bugs. I hate the fucking bugs, mosquitoes, all that shit. I don't know. And then not only that, but like when you're older, you don't want to have to deal with younger people. And I hate that. I feel that doesn't make me feel even older because, like, these damn kids, what do they know, right?
These
So I
damn kids.
don't know.
Yeah.
So
Ah,
I'm kind of in the middle. I there for a while, and I like I had mentioned like when you're going through perimenopause, I'm like out of the worst of it now. But I tell you
yeah.
what, for like 4 years, when I say I was fucking miserable, that is an understatement. Absolute. It felt like I was in the middle of hell,
Hmm.
like fiery hell. It was my body hated me and I hated my body and my body hated everything. And I despised summer. So
Yeah.
now that I'm kind of on the other side of the biggest part of it, I am actually looking forward to this summer. Like
Well,
I'm excited. I found like the summer reading program.
that's good.
I'm looking at the drive-in theater differently. I'm already
Hell
like looking
yeah.
at pool
Nice.
dates. I mean,
Hell
like
yeah, I want to go to the pool.
talking about maybe going to Holiday World or what's the one? Oh, Kentucky Kingdom.
Yeah.
Like I'm looking forward to this stuff now because I feel better. So I'm kind of getting a little bit of that, summer freedom,
That's
Summer
great.
yeah, kind of feeling.
Yeah,
But
I wish
but
I
I will
felt that.
say I have not had that for years.
Just for me, it's just like it's the whole like summer isn't special when you're an adult. When I can stay up late if I want to. I can
But see, that's the thing.
I
You stay
can
up
go
all
out.
the time.
I
Like
can
you stay up late.
I have the freedom to go out. I'm not beholden to going to school. So like it's
But
that
for those
different
of us
feeling.
that are beholden going to work,
No, I
it makes
understand
the
that.
weekends and everything that much more
Yeah,
freedom loving because especially
just
like
choosing.
this weekend is Memorial Day weekend,
Yeah.
which is the
As of the
unofficial,
recording of
the
this.
quote unquote unofficial start of summer.
Yeah.
So, and I have a 3-day weekend. So I've been trying to look up stuff, to do
Yeah,
locally and
yeah,
everything. Like
sure.
it's just,
Yeah,
it's fun.
yeah. Do you think it's more challenging to find things to do during summer as an adult than it was as a kid?
Absolutely.
Yeah. What do you think about that, Josh? You think it's more challenging as an adult to find things to do during the summer than it was as a kid?
No. I think it's more challenging to find things to do during the summer in a post-COVID world. I know we're several years removed, but it's wild the things that haven't been brought back that were taken
Yeah.
away. And that's a
That's
whole
kind
nother
of where
rant
I'm
for a
at.
whole nother time.
What
Yeah, that's a
what
whole
sorts
nother
of
rant for a
things?
whole nother time.
What sorts of things that have to do with the summer though? specifically that you can't do now
Specifically the summer,
that
I
you
can't
couldn't
do
do
right
before?
now.
That's why I'm trying to understand. What is it you can't do during the how does a post COVID world make it harder for you
So
to enjoy summer?
do you remember? Of course, maybe I don't know if you were gone from Indianapolis at the time, but like you could just go and just do shit. Like you could just go and just hey, let's go down to the canal and see what's going on. And there would be vendors, there'd be
Yeah,
Yeah.
shit going on.
yeah.
That doesn't really happen anymore,
They haven't brought that back still because I feel like a lot
to
of the
my
street
knowledge.
vendor stuff is brought back here. Like
I
we
I,
have
I feel
like Shakespeare in the Park that they do down here. Like
be-
I feel like a lot of that. I feel like we're
well,
so
yeah,
far
no, down
removed.
That's
there
another
west.
thing I'm looking forward to is the
Yeah,
Shakespeare
Oh
in the
yeah.
Park.
maybe not in
That's a
your neck
lot
of
of
the
fun.
woods, but I think here it feels like it's a lot. A lot of it's
Mhm.
come back. I mean, that could be a good episode, by the way, is kind of talk about things that aren't the same after COVID now that we're 5 years away. But like,
Why the fuck don't we have
yeah,
24-hour
Well,
Walmart?
I think,
right.
and I think too, it being a little bit harder now, at least for me, we live in, now granted, we live in a small town, but we
Mhm.
live in an area
Right
where
next
there's
to a huge
multiple
city.
small towns and next to a big city. So we do have, you know, a little bit more in the realms of that. But it is still kind of difficult because everything closes so early and everything ends
Fucking early.
so.
Yeah.
So yes,
Jeez.
And
I feel like it is
during
a
the
little
summer, I
bit more
become a night
difficult.
person. Yeah.
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 So I feel like it is a little bit more difficult. And also, I think if you have more money, it makes it a lot easier to find things to do.
Mhm.
Here, there isn't a whole lot that doesn't require at least some form of money.
I think what makes it more difficult now as an adult is when we were children, we had our parents kind of to plan that out for us anyway. And
Yeah.
like we got to kind of like and, well, I mean, as you get a little bit
Well,
older.
no, because I was always the one, oh, let's do this today. Let's do this. Can we go here? Can we do that? So I don't necessarily know if it was my parents planning.
I mean, some of it could be, but I think now when you have all that freedom, quote unquote,
Mhm.
as an adult, you get overwhelmed with what do I want to do? Like, because like
Oh,
there's
not
so many
me.
things to do.
See, I'm just the opposite. I feel like I have less freedom as an adult.
Oh, everything I want to do involves air conditioning inside.
You don't want to be outside.
Oh, fuck all that.
You know what you
There were a couple of summers where me and my friends would just like pick someone's apartment and we would all hole up there and turn the AC on to max and like everyone just made sure that we were there and we were cool and we had food and we had shit to do and it was a good time. We watched the entirety of Smallville. Uh
Oh my
like
gosh.
Jesus
it was
Christ.
And then
the
there
year
was
that
me who would like put baby oil on and sun in my hair and lay out in the backyard to get
Yikes.
tan and lighten my hair.
no.
Yes,
Oof.
this was the early 90s, y'all.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Summer is also I'll say this. Um I think
I didn't
now
have sun in, it was lemon juice.
is the time of year. And even this has changed now too because of COVID in the summer. We had this big event called E3 that we had every year for gaming,
On.
and now it's gone. And that was, like because next month is June. We're gonna have Summer Game Fest now, which is essentially these damn kids will never know how cool E3 was, although they'll say it wasn't cool. Yeah, I thought it was cool. But now they're gonna have Summer Games Fest, and now everything's like spread out and scattered. Whereas before you knew like, okay, the first 2.5 weeks of June are gonna be like, okay, I can't wait for like Sony to go on the stage and talk about all their cool shit. And then like the next day, Microsoft's gonna be out there and talk about their cool shit, and we're gonna have all these developers and shit. Now it's just kind of like, meh, like, all right, I'm excited, but it doesn't hit as hard as it used to.
Yeah.
Even like growing up as a kid and stuff, like as a teenager more so during the summer. But yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily hate the summer. Summer is definitely not my favorite season. I'm more of a fall guy.
I am absolutely a
Um,
fall guy.
like fall is where it's at.
Yeah,
You know,
same.
like um, campfires, bonfires,
Mm-hmm.
going out and watching movies in the out by the fire.
Yeah.
And I know people do that outside during the summer. Hey, you have fun with that. I don't want to be out in the heat unless I'm going into a pool. Maybe go watch a baseball game. That's another thing to do too. Like during the summers, go out and watch baseball.
Okay, now I will
That's
say
I love doing that.
that okay. So this is what's so funny
Yeah.
is I enjoyed doing that, but oh my gosh, it is absolutely scorching out there.
Yeah, it gets really hot now.
It gets really, really hot. So it's kind of surprising that you really you like the heat.
I love baseball.
Well, I love baseball too.
I think I get so distracted from the heat that the baseball, I'm more into watching the game
Oh, geez, not me.
than the heat. I know some people like going to the zoo. That was another activity I used to do as a kid was go to the zoo.
Okay,
That was a fun
yeah.
thing, but you make sure you don't go when it's real.
I will say the one thing that I don't necessarily like to do when it's super hot out, a lot of walking. I cannot do a lot of walking in the heat. So like going to the zoo, going to like I don't know, I haven't been to an amusement park as a kid, or as an adult, but
I haven't been to one of those in forever.
well, I mean I have, but it's been several years. That'll be interesting if we decide to go to one this year because I'm just like, I don't know.
I find myself
Please take me where there's a lot of
I have
ample seating. So
I have found myself wanting when we talk about amusement parks, I want to go to the water park more than the fucking like rides. Because if it's so hot and they have a water park,
Yeah.
I want to be where the water is. Fuck being on. You got these I remember like being a kid and getting a fucking suntan from like riding fucking the beast 3 times in a row out in like 80, 90-degree heat at Kings Island. And that sounds like so miserable now. Like I wouldn't want to fucking do that right now.
So we would go to Indiana Beach, like the end of summer.
Yeah.
The end of summer.
I've never been there.
Indiana
I've
Beach.
never been there.
We went every year to kind of
Ever?
close off the end of the summer. It was like a last hurrah before we had to go back to school, and we would always go before Labor Day. And we would go during the day. They would have day pass. I don't know how they do it now, but they would have day passes and the night passes. And they did have water park there, but we never went.
Yeah.
One, I'm allergic to chlorine, so that made it difficult. But we would always go. There was a log ride that Josh, have you ever been to Indiana Beach?
Oh yeah, a lot.
Okay, so you know the log ride I'm talking about, like towards the
Yeah.
entrance exit kind of area.
Yeah.
So we always saved that one for last. And
Okay.
that way we could just, kind of wash off the day, so to speak. We would always get in the log, like in the front, not the front, because the very front you wouldn't get splashed a whole lot.
Yeah,
But
you gotta be
the
like in the middle
second,
of the back.
the
middle of the back.
second seat of the first log is what we would always try to get into because we realized that's where you get the wettest. So we
Yeah.
would ride the log ride, the very last ride, and we would get just like soaked, and it was just so much fun. And we would, dry off, walking back to the car and everything, and then we'd be all tuckered out and go home. But yeah, Indiana Beach was our last hurrah. But we never like got to go to the water park part. But I mean, it was over the lake. So I mean, like you had the breeze and you had
That place always looks so cool.
it's
I've never
amazing.
been.
We really do need to plan a trip up there. It was so much
Yeah.
fun.
Does Craig still work up there?
No,
I know he did. I know
he
used to.
did.
It's like
and
he
then
hasn't been there for a while.
Yeah, I was
Well,
gonna say,
they closed, and then they reopened with
They
new owners.
reopened.
Honestly, I don't know if they're still currently reopened with new
I
owners.
think we
but
might
I know
we
they-
might go to Holiday World first. I've always really wanted to go there more than Indiana Beach. That's
Right.
closer. But guys,
Definitely both.
that is all the time we have for this episode of The Next Level. Want to appreciate you all for taking the time to listen to our show. If you could do us a huge favor, no matter where you listen to us at, please give us a great rating. Follow us, whatever it is, whether it's follow, subscribe, wherever you're listening to us on Spotify. Spotify lets you leave comments below. So please, interact with us. We want that interaction. We want to talk to you because we do respond to comments. So please, with this episode, let us know. Do you still enjoy summer now as an adult? And maybe let us know some of the things you do as an adult versus what you did when you were a kid. But thank you so much. Whether you listen to us on Spotify, Good Pods lets you leave comments on our episodes too, so we do read those.
Yep.
You can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and practically every other place on the internet that basically lets you host podcasts. We're on there too. But thank you so much. Also, a little bit of news. We wanted to let you guys know that we'll be doing our show at PopCon Indy in June.
okay.
It's going to be the 27th through the, I'm trying to make sure I get to say this right, 27th through the 29th. And we'll be doing our show that Sunday, the 29th at 11 a.m. at the PopCon Live podcast stage. And you never know who might show up. We had Mean Ken on the show one year. Rumor has it he's going to be there this year.
He's
You
always
know,
so much fun.
and then I'm thinking in about a few weeks, we're gonna have. I've already talked to Carl. I haven't told these guys yet. I talked to and confirmed with Carl Doninger, one of the guys who owns and runs PopCon. He is gonna be on our show to talk
All right.
all about PopCon Indy, what we can get excited for. They're gonna have fucking battle bots there. I'm super stoked for that. I don't know if
hell
you guys
yeah.
knew that. They're gonna have battle bots. They're having a
Hell
fashion show. I heard about this today. They're having a fashion.
What? A fashion?
They are having a fashion show. What I'm probably the most excited for is they are going to have the original voice cast of the 1980s Teenage Mutant Ninja
Teenage
Turtles
Mutant
cartoon.
Ninja Turtles.
That's right. They're going to have the 4 turtles and the voice actor of April O'Neil all there, and that's probably going to be our big photo op we're going to do this time, right? I would imagine. Get a
Yeah.
photo op with them. But we'll have Carl on. Maybe we'll get KJ on with us too. My friend KJ, she's great. Get them both on. We'll get you guys all hyped for PopCon Indy, which is going to be the last full weekend of June, and we will be there. We're also going to be there doing our pro wrestling podcast. We mentioned this earlier in the show. It's called A Bunch of Marks. That is going to be on Saturday, June 28th at 11 a.m. once again at the PopCon Live podcast stage. So if you like pro wrestling, come hang out with us. It's going to be myself, Josh, and Raven. We're doing that show. And then come hang out with us Sunday because it'll be the 3 of us and our friend Bryce Big BS Schumacher will be there. And we don't know what the hell we're going to talk about yet. We'll get that. You'll find out when you come. But once again, thanks so much. And we do thank PopCon for having us come out and do both of our shows. We always have a fun time doing our shows there. We always see our podcast friends there as well. We make a big deal of it the weekend we're there. So other than that, thanks for listening to our show, as this is our 111th episode of the Next Level. Thanks for hanging out. And we will see you next week. Same bat time, same bat station. Adios, everybody. Have a good one. Take care.
Peace.